It's going to depend on the course that they are pursuing. Let me tell you, Richard, you know, we have to be brutally honest with ourselves. The old model, the differentiated unit model, assumed that all courses were the same. And a course in medicine costs the same as another course in a different subject. The reality is that it is not. University chancellors are here. Vice chancellors are here. I don't know whether university vice chancellors are here. Who is willing to tell us that there is a difference? Yeah? Yeah, they are here. There is a difference. And this model recognizes, this new model recognizes that a course in medicine costs 600,000 to train. A course in education costs 180,000 to train. And therefore, for a student doing medicine, government of Kenya gives more for the student doing medicine as a percentage, because it costs more to train that student. And if we don't give more to train that student, we will end up with a student with a graduate who is half-baked, because we didn't give them the resources to train the student correctly. That is the difference between this model and the other one. So there is every reason why we have to interrogate this model. Let me ask, any vice chancellor who is willing to tell us, you know, don't worry about kusalimiwa. Sisi wengine tumezoea kusalimiwa kila siku. But you know, the truth is the truth. It cannot be changed. I want a vice chancellor who is here to volunteer. On, yes, Mwalimu, and you say which college you?
Your Excellency, I happen to be the Vice Chancellor of Alupe University. Also previously a member of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform, and a member of the party that recommended this model. And we agreed.
You know, let's listen. You know, we are intellectuals.
Yeah.
You know, and intellectuals, you listen to reason.
Yeah.
You know, we are not a mob. We are people who want to reason. And I like what Junior here, Kisero, he said. He said, we want to listen, we want to challenge, you know, and we want to be part of the solution. So let us listen. And you can challenge what Professor is saying the same way you are challenging what I'm saying. I mean, it's the right thing for intellectuals. Professor.
Your Excellency, I'm going to pick on a course in my university, which we are beginning in September, and that is a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. A Bachelor of Science in Nursing, in preparation for that program, we've had to spend almost 3.8 million to prepare equipment for nursing, even before we start. It's not the same as preparing students for teacher education, where I need the 4 walls, I need a micro-teaching lab, which does not cost even a quarter of what it will cost me to prepare a nurse. And indeed, the skills lab for nursing alone, even when Q was telling me I'm ready, they have still been given other things to buy, are going to cost me 1.67 million. So preparing a nurse is very expensive. And so we cannot have the same cost for preparing a teacher, preparing a doctor, preparing a lawyer, like the differentiated unit cost was doing. Indeed, colleagues and our students who are here, Some of our universities were paying us 60% of our salaries using the old model. But right now, if I am able to get the correct banding for my students, Your Excellency, I'll be able to support even capital development within my institution within the next 2 years. And that is the truth of the matter. I will not have to beg for money and ask for money and wait for capitation. But I do take on board your concerns about the correct banding, so that there is a normal curve depending on how we deal with our students. So, Your Excellency, I will say all courses don't cost the same. And our students should appreciate that if we get this money and we don't do our best with that money, then we are responsible for what is going to happen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor. Richard also said maybe there is a problem with the mode of implementation. Maybe there are good ideas, but there is a problem with the mode of implementation. Richard, let me take you back a bit, if you allow me. I have had occasion to sort out 2 other problems like this one in our education sector. When I became Minister for Higher Education, for 19 years, students had to wait for 2 years before you can join university. And nobody wanted to sort it out because it was difficult. Every minister dodged, danced around it, because people don't want to solve problems. It is easy to color problems. Oh, we have a big problem. Talk about the problem. Explain the problem. So, but it's difficult. It's okay for people to talk about the problems. I see many people. There's this problem. The students are being placed in the wrong band. This model is not good. But I have tremendous respect for the people who have ideas on how to solve the problem, on how to come up with solutions. Yeah? So, I sorted out the problem of university students having to wait for 2 years. It was difficult. I was called names. People said I was going to destroy the education system. But we were incurring huge losses. A student finishing Form 4 and waiting for 2 years, many of them, by the time they were going to university, many of them had dropped out. Others had gone to pursue other things. Some of the girls had gotten pregnant, and it was just chaos. So I took it upon myself and drove a program that eventually, in 1.5 years, we sorted out the problem. Number 2, we had a big issue, a big conversation, as I told you earlier, about education and the absence of technical education in our system. I took it upon myself, and I am very proud today that from 30,000 students in our TVET, we today have 700,000 students, and we don't have a skills gap that existed before. Again, it took a lot of courage. This too is one such challenge. I'm asking you guys, let us solve it together, the way Junior here said. And we can do it together. We can do it. So, let me combine what, before I come to Melody on lead disbursement, let me go with what Kisero Jr. Otieno said. He said, what was wrong with the old model? Yeah? Number one. Number two, why don't we amend the old model? Yeah? And number three, why don't we do it together? Junior, let me call you that. You're so right. I will tell you what was wrong with the old model. And then I will tell you what we are doing with the new model and how we can do it together. I don't know even whether it is me to say what was wrong with the old model. The old model was almost destroying our education. Because, number one, it assumed that all the courses were the same. Number one. It also assumed that government had the money to pay 80% for everybody, when it did not. And the results were disastrous. Scott Theological College, a university, closed down because of the old model. Many universities here, when I came into office, because of the old model, 23 out of 40 public universities were bankrupt. And if you are going to a university that is bankrupt, explain to me what kind of education you are going to get from a university that is bankrupt. Friends. And are there university chancellors here, vice chancellors here who know how serious that is? What was the situation? Yeah? Are they here? Vice chancellors, say many. You know, if the old model was working, tell these students the old model was good, and you know, let's go back to the old model. Yeah. So the vice chancellors are here. Any vice chancellor want to tell us? Yes. Who? This lady here, or? Oh yeah, here from Embu University.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I want to say that, indeed, as you've said, the old model was killing our universities. And I stand here on behalf of all the universities because I'm the chairman of the Vice Chancellor's Forum, and therefore I can talk on that mandate. And I would want to say, as of June 2023, 23 out of the 40 universities were technically insolvent. And the round one of this model, which we just started last year, has been able to get many of those universities out of that pit. And we have done simulations, and we have seen in 3 years' time, in 3 to 4 years' time, all the universities will have a turnaround, and we all stop being insolvent. And therefore, I would want to say, as Vice Chancellors, Your Excellency, we support this model because it's a model that we see is going to turn us around. For example, I would want to say University of Embu is one of those that would have been otherwise technically insolvent. In fact, in that list, I'm number 17. But I can say, as of now, we are in the positive. And it's only one round. We owned our lecturers. Because of the old model, when we raised the CMBAs, we could not be able to pay the new salaries. And we owned our lecturers and our staff members arrears for 2 years. And because of this new model, Last June, May and June, we were able to pay those arrears for 2 years. So right now, University of Embu is clean. We owe nobody nothing. So it's a model, Your Excellency, we want to support, because you could draw a line, and we would have told you when all the universities will be technically insolvent in this country. But we know now that there is a turnaround, and we are going to get out of there. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Let me say this, my friend Junior. The model, the student-centered model, is actually an improvement. In your own words, you said, why don't we improve? Why don't we take the old model and make it better? This is exactly what we are doing. The household contribution was there. It is there in this model. The scholarship was there. It is there in this model. The loan was there. It is there in this model. The only difference we are making is that we are looking at how do we make children from vulnerable families, how do we assist them? How do we make sure that when we send students to a university, we also give the university resources to make sure they teach the course for which they have admitted the student? It is true. I mean, it is a fact that it doesn't cost the same to teach one course as against the other. And this funding model is sensitive to that. It is also sensitive to students who come from vulnerable families. I know I have been accused, correctly, that I sometimes think too much about poor people, and I push, the rich people to do things for the poor ones. But I mean, that is society. You I don't know how to put it. But anyway, that's that. So, you have just told me, Junior, that among the universities that we owe a lot of money is KEMO, your university, right? Do you know why we owe KEMO a lot of money? It's because of the old model, which you are telling me, let us go back to the old model. How will KEMO get out of the hole? If we continue with the old model, it means KEMO continues to accumulate debt. Friend, let us deal with this as openly, as transparently as possible. The vice chancellors who are sitting here are not madmen and women. For them to agree for us to work with this model. They've seen what happens with the old model. They participated. We worked with them. We worked on simulations. We brought in experts to look at, because the one thing we cannot do is to compromise on the quality of our education. The old model is compromising on the quality of our education, because if lecturers are not paid, if material is not available to train our doctors, if workshops are not working to train our engineers, we will end up with the wrong engineers, we will end up with the wrong doctors, we will end up with the wrong teachers, and we will destroy our country. It will be very reckless of us. It will be very irresponsible of us. Me as president, these vice chancellors as managers of our universities, you as students, for us to accept to walk a path that leads to the destruction of our country and our education, for that matter. Melody has said, Njeri has said, late disbursement. I agree with you. That is part of what brought us to this very unfortunate situation.